There are plenty of ways to describe Tuesday night's loss for the Marlins against the Braves, but I got one for you. Embarrassing.
You are Locked On Marlins, your daily podcast on the Miami Marlins.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Marlins. I'm your host, Jeremiah Geiger. I'm a diehard Marlins fan, and I've podcasted about the team for the last 4 seasons. You can find me on X at Jeremiah Geiger 2, and thank you for making Locked On Marlins your first listen of the day. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel, and let me know your thoughts about this game in the comments section. On Tuesday night, the Marlins executed one of the worst 9th innings I've ever seen in my life. I don't think a bullpen could give away a game. A manager could give away a game as well as the Marlins did, or as poorly as the Marlins did. However you want to phrase it here. That was an embarrassment. Entering the top of the 9th, the score was 2-2. The Marlins get out of the bottom of the 9th with Javier Sanoja as their pitcher. Let that sink in for a second. You start the top of the 9th inning as the home team, trying to take this game to the bottom of the 9th in a tie game. You don't want to give up a run. The Marlins give up 9. And at the end of the frame, they have a position player pitching. That's inexcusable. Well, let's walk it back. What happened? What got us to that point? We're going to talk about Sandy Alcantara later, and he had a very strong start, 7 innings. But after 7 innings, his pitch count's over 100. The Marlins give the ball to Cade Gibson. And Gibson goes 2/3 of an inning before Clayton goes out of the dugout, brings Tyler Phillips in for the 8th. Okay, fair enough. They don't give up a run. The Marlins don't score in the bottom of the 8th. It's now the top of the 9th inning. Surely Ronnie Enriquez is warmed up and ready to go. Surely Clayton McCullough has known by now. He's learned his lesson from the Boston series that you don't save Ronnie Enriquez for the 10th inning in a tie game, that you have to get there first. Nope. He didn't learn. He brings in Tyler Zuber. High leverage reliever Tyler Zuber. And Zuber gets 1 out, gives up 1 hit. He walks a guy. He gets yanked from the game. Guess who comes in? It's Ronnie Enriquez to clean it up, to clean up the mess. Get the Marlins to the bottom of the 9th with a chance to walk it off. Right? Wrong again. In comes Josh Simpson, and what followed after that was a disaster. He got 1 out. He gave up 5 hits, 7 earned runs. He walked 2. He gave up a homer. That outing alone, in of itself, pushed his season ERA to over 8. It's approaching 9 at 8.87. That's how horrific Josh Simpson was on Tuesday. Then Clayton brings in Javier Sanoja. Sanoja got the same amount of outs as Tyler Zuber and Josh Simpson, and he didn't give up a hit, didn't give up a walk. Maybe the next time the Marlins are in a tie baseball game in the 9th inning, they should bring in Javier Sanoja to pitch. Because if they're not going to pitch Ronnie Enriquez, I think Sanoja is a better option than Josh Simpson. This is pathetic. This is getting to a point of ridiculousness. And the fans, the media, everybody that cares about this team, the players, they deserve better. What Clayton is doing, and you know, I'm starting to think, because of how just inconceivable It doesn't make any sense. It's so bad that there has to be something behind the scenes. This is not Clayton's doing in of itself. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here. That's how bad it is. And if it is, then may God help his soul, because he is not fit to be a manager at the major league level. And bless his soul. You know, I wish the best for him as a person, but the Marlins won't be winning anything if Clayton McCullough is the manager and he's the one making these decisions. Because what is going on? You have Ronnie Enriquez, one of the National League relievers who just has the ability to rack up strikeouts at an outstanding rate. And he's barely pitched over the last month. It's like they've completely phased him out of the rotation without saying so. And there's no answers. Post-game, Clayton goes and says, Ronnie was unavailable tonight. Oh, okay. That's why he didn't pitch today. You would have brought in Ronnie, but, something's going on. No. Clayton goes on to say, there's nothing wrong with Ronnie. Then why didn't you pitch him? Why was he unavailable? How is it so hard to understand that if Ronnie is healthy and is effective, then pitch him? Why are you babying him like he's coming off of Tommy John surgery? Are we trying to win games, or are we purposefully losing? Because this is what it is. If you want to do an investigation, if you're the commissioner of baseball, you're Rob Manfred, and someone comes up to you and says, I think the Marlins are throwing games on purpose, you would look at instances like this, and that's literal proof. That's evidence, because it's so outlandish. It's so bad. These decisions are indefensible. There's no defending putting Josh Simpson with a runner on second in a tie game in the 9th inning when you're playing the Atlanta Braves in a Major League Baseball game. And the goal of professional sports, I don't care if you're 100-0, 50-20, if you're 0-100, the goal should be to win. And the Marlins aren't doing that. Whoever is making these decisions, they're purposefully not giving their team a chance to win. Because again, unless something is wrong with Ronnie Enriquez and his health, and he's unable to pitch, his right arm doesn't work, then why isn't he pitching? This has been happening over and over and over again, and I'm sick of it. We buy Marlins merchandise. We buy tickets to the games. We make money, and we spend our money to support this team. And the fan base deserves better. And you deserve better than these generic, like AI robot style answers. It's like off of a video game, a computer program. No elaboration whatsoever. So give me a break. I don't care if it's August. What's the Marlins record now? We're almost to football season. 62-70. They're playing the final stretch of baseball. I do not care. Is it a meaningless game? Sure, call it what it is. But this is professional sports. We're trying to win. And the complete denial of this, the attitude that Clayton has after the Boston series, that when he went to the media and said, it's about getting reps. We believe in Josh Simpson as a pitcher. It's about getting reps. That's when I washed my hands of it. I said, I can't do this. I can't take myself seriously believing that Clayton McCullough is going to bring this team a world championship. That's not the attitude I want my manager to have. Is he a nice guy? By all accounts, sure. Great clubhouse guy? Sure. Horrible decision maker. And again, Clayton and whoever is behind the scenes, I believe that there has to be some sort of middleman. There has to be some sort of partnership between him and the front office and whatever analytical model they're working. Because this is Clayton's first year as the manager, but it can't be this bad. I don't get it. I really don't. They seem to not care. They got to a point in the season. They were playing good baseball. And now all of a sudden, they literally seem like they don't care about winning and losing. It doesn't affect them at all, which is such a bad attitude to have. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. Again, I don't care what your record is, but the players, the front office, the coaching staff, they should all care about winning. The players do. Tyler Phillips goes out, gets the save last Sunday, and gives one of the best post-game interviews I've ever seen in my life. That dude cares. Jacob Marcy cares. And you're giving away games. You're not giving yourself a chance to walk it off and send the fans home happy that paid that hard-earned money to see a baseball game. Because I'm going to throw Tyler Zuber and Josh Simpson, two guys that have no business pitching in high-leverage situations for the Marlins. I'm going to put them in the game, and we're going to say Ronnie Enriquez is unavailable. He's thrown 7 pitches over the last 3 days, but you know what? He's unavailable. But he's not hurt. Yeah, make that make sense. It's absolutely ridiculous. I got this plaque here, and I put it behind right on my wall. So if you're watching on YouTube, you just saw what I did. For those listening to the podcast, I got off my chair, walked over, and I grabbed this plaque. It's a World Series banner or newspaper with Josh Beckett. I'm going to put this in front of the screen for a second. Josh Beckett, after he wins the World Series on the Miami Herald, and the headline is amazing. World Series. They just beat the Yankees. They're on top of the world. You think this current regime is going to get there with decisions like this? Because I don't think so. This is what I want. I want a World Series championship. I want to win the World Series. I was 1 year old in 2003. I didn't get to experience what a lot of you fans experience. And I'm seeing tangible progress from the players, from the development staff. But you know what I'm missing? I don't see a winning attitude. And I have a major problem with that, a huge problem with that. And coming up next, I'm going to talk about behind the scenes for the Marlins. What's really going on? And the issues I have within the Marlins front office and how they handle day-to-day operations. That's coming up right after this. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live, the energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, now that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees, it takes all the fun out of it. And that's why you can use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. That is absolutely the best part of Gametime, because I use Gametime when I get my tickets to football games, baseball games, when I go see the Marlins, hopefully not see Josh Simpson in the 9th inning, but it's still the Marlins. The same price is going to be the same price at checkout. There's none of those fees It's the best. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. I appreciate all the everyday listeners making Locked On Marlins a part of your daily routine. It's really great to get on the podcast and discuss the Marlins baseball with you. And unfortunately, this is one of these situations, and it's not fun to talk about, but it has to be done. Behind the scenes in the front office, what's going on? Because there's no transparency to the fan base. We've learned that already. Peter Bendix is going to give the most generic, basic, robot answers ever conceived by a human being, and then that's all you get if you're the media, and that's all you get if you're the fan base. You just have to speculate. Just like for the last month, we've been speculating why Ronnie Enriquez hasn't been pitching. Maybe that question's been asked to Clayton or Peter Bendix, but there's never going to be elaboration on it. So the Marlins have a guy by the name of Gabe Kapler. And I posed the question after the Marlins lost in such an embarrassing fashion on Tuesday. I just posed the question on Twitter. I want to know what Gabe Kapler really does. What does this guy do on a day-to-day basis? Because you never hear about him. You never hear what he does. And yet, he's an assistant general manager. So if you pull it up on the internet, there's a few things that it will tell you. So, of course, he was a former manager with the Phillies, with the Giants, a former director of player development for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Real pedigree right there. Good resume. But what does he do? And this is the line that I see right here that just stands out to me as if it's written in all red, bright red ink. To have an impact on all areas of the team's baseball operations. So he's involved in everything. It's not just player development, it's baseball operations. He's working hand in hand with Peter Bendix up there. But he's behind the scenes. You don't hear him. You don't get these interviews or the media access talking to Gabe Kapler every single day, like you do with Clayton McCullough. And in my mind, it's pretty simple. Peter Bendix, president of baseball operations, Gabe Kapler is right there with him doing this work that we're not going to know. And I don't know how much influence Kapler has, but I will say this. He sure has no problem posting TikToks all the time and trying to be cool for all the ladies. You know, he's got a big ego, I'll tell you that much. Former MLB player, former manager, discarded from San Francisco. I didn't like him when he was a manager in San Francisco, but he got fired. You could say he was maybe the scapegoat over there. And now he's just going to take this job for the Marlins as an assistant GM, and we never hear from him. There's never any action that we see Gabe do. And I just have a hard time believing that. I think he has a very prominent role in this organization. Very prominent. So how much influence, going back to the first segment, when I was talking about Clayton McCullough and these decisions and how I'm willing to give him a break and not be so hard on him because of who's his bosses. Who's coming up with these analytical models? Who is telling him you need to throw Simpson and Zuber in the ninth inning? You can't bring in Ronnie Enriquez. Is this Kapler? Is this Bendix? Is it both of them? We don't know. But I'm willing to bet, once again, if there was a line on FanDuel, one of the ad reads I do all the time, if there was a line on FanDuel that had Gabe Kapler being active in the Marlins decisions on a day-to-day basis, I'm pushing all the chips in there because he is. Him and Peter Bendix. Bendix gets the credit. Bendix is the president of baseball operations. I just think and I believe that Kapler's role is greater than meets the eye. But whatever they're doing, I asked them one question. I asked them, why are you doing this? Do you not want to win? Do you not care about winning? And the second statement, not a question, but the second statement I would make is be transparent. Stop with this facade of invisibility where no one's going to see us. No one's going to understand what we're doing. We're working in the dark. We're just there. You see us, now you see us, now you don't. We're magicians. Just stop. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes dishonesty. Nobody wants to see poor Clayton McCullough go up there for the 10th time and have to defend himself because the front office and Kapler and Bendix and the data analysts have this spreadsheet that he follows to an exact T. And then the Marlins lose and you wonder, whoa, Clayton, why did you do that? Ronnie was unavailable. And there's nothing wrong with him, but he's just unavailable. Yeah, okay. Don't you guys see? Can you guys visualize that? Because I can. It's pretty easy to add up. I like Bendix. I like what he's done for this organization. But this analytical model, whoever's behind it, it's got to stop. I'm urging you, stop. And if it's Clayton, once again, God bless him. Because he's not a major league manager. Lost in the horrible loss for the Marlins. This is going to be swept under the rug, and that's, of course, why it's the third segment of tonight's show, or today's show, if you're listening at daytime. Sandy Alcantara had a really good start. I'm beginning to believe that El Caballo is back. I do believe El Caballo is back. But unfortunately, the Marlins wasted it. I'm going to talk about Sandy right after this. Hey Marlins fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, you might think it's too good to be true, but it's completely legit. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out at any time to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now while using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Football is back. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll win $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel is great because it fits however you want to play. Whether you want to put some money on some player props, if you like a certain money line, they've got it all. They've got you covered. And it's quick, easy, and it's the best way to add some more energy to your NFL Sundays. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We have an important request. Locked On wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link down below in the show notes. Thank you for helping us out. And remember, Locked On Marlins, you can find it wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever you are in the world, in the country, you can get your daily Marlins content. The Marlins wasted Sandy Alcantara's start with this loss. It was embarrassing. It's tough to stomach because Sandy deserved better. First of all, you didn't score with the bases loaded at one point in the game. And that would have given the Sandy Alcantara a chance at a win. But regardless, whenever your starting pitcher goes 7 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts, that's his final line, and you don't win the game, there's a sense of missed opportunity. That's what happened on Tuesday night. Sandy Alcantara now, he's turned a corner. And although this loss is difficult to process, and you've heard me rant about the decision-making, the frustration behind it, I understand all of that. But Sandy Alcantara now, his last 3 starts, starting in Boston, goes 6 innings, 1 run, 7 strikeouts. Against the Cardinals, 7 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. And now against the Braves, 7 innings again, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. So he's racking up the strikeouts, he's racking up the innings, and that's what you want to see from your ace, from your franchise pitcher. Will the Marlins keep him in the offseason? I don't know. I talked about this in yesterday's show. If the Marlins had the opportunity to trade Sandy Alcantara to get the return they wanted, I think they would have done that this season. They didn't. He pitched terribly in the first half, and they held on to him rather than selling low. That's commendable. That's what you want to see from Peter Bendix. You never want to see a team trade a player for the sake of trading them. But now with Sandy, turning a corner, finding his footing, getting back to the pitcher he used to be to a degree before Tommy John surgery, that chance of him getting moved, I think, is a lot higher. And it wouldn't shock me if the Marlins trade him, to the Cubs, to the Mets, to the Dodgers, one of those big market competitive teams that have a farm system that intrigue Peter Bendix. Now, it would be really, really disappointing. I think when the Marlins held on to him at this deadline, I was ecstatic because I want him to be a Marlin for life. Will it happen? Maybe, maybe not. The key for Sandy Alcantara, and I've talked about this before, when he throws that curveball, in the past, against the Astros, for example, a few starts ago, it was getting crushed. Astro hitters were just sitting back on the curve. And what I found interesting with Tuesday's start, that was his highest usage of his arsenal, was the curve. So Daniel Moscas, the pitching coach, Sandy Alcantara, they are being stubborn in keeping that in the arsenal. And not just keeping it in the arsenal, but in this case, relying on the arsenal. And in this particular start, it worked. He got 6 whiffs on the pitch. Called strike plus whiff percentage of 43%. That's really, really good. There were 7 balls in play. The average exit velocity off Sandy's curve was 88.4 miles an hour. Really good stuff from Sandy's curve, and hopefully it's turned a corner to where, he's not leaving them hanging over the center of the plate, and there's a little bit more movement, there's a little bit more deception, and you can pair it with that changeup and the sinker. And although he only threw the slider twice, maybe he gets that slider a little bit more involved as well. because that changeup's nasty. There was a called strike 3 to Ronald Acuna Jr., just dotted on the inside part of the plate, right at the knees. Froze Acuna. Had no idea what to do with the pitch. Perfectly located. You couldn't do anything with it, especially if you're Acuna and you're looking at something away. If you're looking for that slider, if you're looking for a fastball up at the top of the zone. Complete opposite. That was some great, just mental thinking by Sandy and just knowing exactly where he's going with the pitch, knowing it was going to freeze Acuna. Great strikeout. Moving forward for Sandy, he's got to finish this year strong. Every start matters at this point. We talk about blow-up starts, and they happen from time to time. They happen to the best of them. But with Sandy, I think it's important that he really executes everything the rest of the way. You don't want to leave momentum on the table. You don't want to head into 2026, being a member of the Marlins potentially, hopefully, while still having an up and down year. So, for example, if Yuri Perez has a blow-up start or he's not at his best, it wouldn't bother me as much as if Sandy does. Because I know Yuri, and I know he's going to bounce back, and the sky is the limit for him, and I expect him to be in contention for a Cy Young Award. If not next year, the year after. It can happen as soon as next year. With Sandy, there was an element of just, is he any good anymore? There was that argument. And now he's quieting the doubters. I was doubting. I flat out said, Sandy's not good. I gave him chance after chance after chance. And now he's rattled 3 starts in a row, 3 really Sandy quality starts. Sandy-esque, reminding me of 2022. Let's see. He's probably got 5 or 6 left in the season. Maybe a couple more. Just keep going. You can't let your foot off the gas pedal. Don't give us this hope, Sandy, and then take it away. Because right after the trade deadline, I was expecting, all the pressure off his shoulders. He was going to show up. He was going to dominate, get back to being Sandy. He got roughed up immediately, his first start after the trade deadline. But he settled down. Really good start against the Cardinals. Really good start against the Braves, the division rival Braves, which makes it more frustrating that the Fish didn't win this game. The Marlins, man, this is a trial and tribulation at times to be a fan of them. And especially to get on the podcast and be reasonable, but also be objective. What I saw in that 9th inning was mismanagement. Plain and simple. And I discussed how if it is Clayton, then he is not good and needs to find a different job. If it's solely on Clayton, which I lean to believe it's not. Regardless, I will say this. Even if it's not just Clayton's fault, he's not the one making these decisions on a whim. I don't like Clayton as the manager for the Marlins moving forward. With this young core of players and a potential wild card run, playoff run in the next couple of years, maybe 2026, because in 2026, I want this team to make the playoffs. I need to see Clayton be better. I need to see this organization be better. These aren't the moves you make. These aren't the games you play and the approach you have to a baseball game if you're serious about winning. Rubber game is on Wednesday. Hopefully the Marlins win the series and avoid their 7th straight series loss. And it'd be great to stay ahead of the Braves in the standings. That's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Marlins. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Until next time, stay safe, stay locked on, and let's go fish.